When Roger Moore made his debut as James Bond in Live and Let Die, 1973, the franchise entered a bold new era. Gone were the days of Sean Connery's cold elegance. Moore brought charm, wit, and a lighter edge to the role. The film itself was packed with voodoo mysticism, crocodile stunts, speedboat chases, and one of the funkiest theme songs in Bond history. But behind all that spectacle lies a treasure chest of bizarre production stories, dangerous stunts, and surprising Hollywood connections you probably never knew. From snakes on set to Paul McCartney's unforgettable theme, here are 20 weird facts about Live and Let Die that will forever change how you see Roger Moore's first outing as 007. Number 1. Roger Moore was nearly too old for Bond. When Roger Moore was cast as James Bond, he was already 45, the oldest actor to debut as 007 at the time. Producers had considered him years earlier during the Connery era, but he was tied up with his hit TV series, The Saint. By the time Live and Let Die came along, Connery had officially walked away, and George Lazenby's one-off left the franchise desperate for stability. Some in the production worried audiences might find Moore too old or too refined for the role, but his polished charm and witty delivery worked perfectly for the more playful tone the producers wanted. His age didn't hold him back. If anything, it gave his Bond an air of sophistication and class.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Number 2. Paul McCartney's theme nearly got rejected. Paul McCartney's Live and Let Die theme is now iconic, but at the time, producers weren't convinced. George Martin, the Beatles' former producer, arranged the track, and McCartney recorded it with his band Wings. When producer Harry Saltzman first heard it, he reportedly expected a soft, soulful ballad sung by a female vocalist, something in the tradition of Shirley Bassey. Instead, he got a hard-hitting rock anthem with dramatic tempo changes. Saltzman allegedly asked, "So who's going to sing the actual song?" Martin replied sharply, "You've got Paul McCartney." That settled it. The track went on to become a chart-topping hit, earning an Oscar nomination and becoming one of the most celebrated Bond songs ever recorded. Number 3. The Crocodile Farm stunt was real. Bond's escape across the backs of crocodiles is one of the film's most jaw-dropping scenes. Incredibly, it wasn't faked. The stunt was performed by Ross Kananga, who owned the crocodile farm where the scene was filmed. Kananga himself attempted the stunt 5 times, narrowly avoiding death on multiple tries. At one point, a crocodile latched onto his shoe, tearing it apart. In another attempt, his pants were shredded as he leapt for safety. Despite the danger, the filmmakers kept pushing for the perfect take. To honor his bravery, the film's villain was named Dr. Kananga. The sequence has since gone down as one of the riskiest and most insane practical stunts in Bond history. Number 4. The speedboat chase broke records. The Louisiana Bayou speedboat chase is one of the film's highlights, but it wasn't just movie magic. It set real-world records. The sequence used over 20 boats and stretched across several locations, including swamps, rivers, and specially built ramps. One of the stunts featured a boat jumping over a road, clearing 110 feet, an official world record at the time. The shot was so dangerous that even seasoned stuntmen hesitated, but it worked on the first take. The chase was so spectacular that it inspired copycat scenes in other films and TV shows throughout the 1970s. Audiences had never seen anything like it, proving Bond movies were still pushing the boundaries of action filmmaking. Number 5. Yaphet Kotto hated his villain. Yaphet Kotto, who played the main villain Dr. Kananga, later admitted he disliked how his character was written. He felt Kananga was reduced to a stereotype rather than a layered, intelligent foe. Kotto even suggested changes to make Kananga more menacing, but his ideas were mostly ignored. He also disliked the over-the-top death scene, where Kananga inflates like a balloon before exploding, calling it embarrassing. Despite his criticisms, Kotto's performance remains memorable, with his calm charisma making Kananga one of the more unique Bond villains. Fans today often debate whether the film wasted his potential or if his theatrical presence was exactly what the 1970s Bond era needed. Number 6. Jane Seymour was only 22. Jane Seymour became an overnight star thanks to her role as Solitaire, the psychic Bond girl. But when she was cast, she was just 22 years old and relatively inexperienced. The producers originally considered more established actresses, but Seymour's youthful beauty and mysterious aura won her the part. She later admitted she was terrified during filming, especially in her romantic scenes with Roger Moore, who was more than 20 years older. Despite her nerves, Seymour's performance gave the film one of its most iconic Bond girls, and she would go on to have a long and successful career in both film and television. Live and Let Die was her big break, cementing her as a star to watch.
A man comes. He travels quickly.
Number 7. Roger Moore was terrified of guns. Roger Moore may have played the world's most famous secret agent, but in real life, he had a deep fear of firearms. Unlike Sean Connery, who looked natural handling guns, Moore often blinked or flinched when firing. This caused headaches for the crew, who had to reshoot scenes or cut quickly to hide his reactions. Moore later joked about his discomfort, saying he never quite believed Bond's violent lifestyle suited his personality. Instead, he leaned into charm, humor, and wit, creating a more suave and tongue-in-cheek version of 007. While it may seem ironic, Moore's gun shyness actually added to his Bond's uniqueness, separating him from the colder, more ruthless Connery interpretation. Number 8. The voodoo imagery was controversial. Live and Let Die leaned heavily into voodoo culture for its atmosphere, villains, and mystical elements. While visually striking, it drew criticism for perpetuating stereotypes about Caribbean religion. Some argued the portrayal of Baron Samedi and the ritual scenes felt cartoonish and disrespectful. The filmmakers defended their choices, saying they wanted to heighten the supernatural aura to differentiate the movie from earlier Bond films. Regardless, the imagery stuck with audiences, making Baron Samedi one of the most memorable henchmen in the franchise. Actor Geoffrey Holder, who played Samedi, later said he loved the role precisely because it was so outrageous, blending menace and comedy in equal measure. Number 9. Geoffrey Holder's laugh was improvised. Baron Samedi's chilling, booming laugh is one of the film's most iconic sound effects, but it wasn't scripted. Actor Geoffrey Holder came up with it on set, experimenting with different ways to make his character memorable. The laugh was so unique and unsettling that director Guy Hamilton insisted it be used repeatedly, even during Samedi's resurrection scene at the film's end. Holder's performance blended creepiness with theatrical showmanship, turning what could have been a simple henchman into an unforgettable Bond figure. His sinister laugh would echo long after the credits rolled, cementing Baron Samedi's place in Bond history as one of the franchise's strangest characters.
It must have been the girl's death. If you do not ask specific questions.
Number 10. The snake scenes were real. Several sequences in the film featured dangerous snakes, particularly during Solitaire's fortune-telling rituals. Unlike today, where CGI or animatronics would be used, the snakes in Live and Let Die were real, and the cast wasn't thrilled about it. Jane Seymour admitted she was terrified during the scenes, as the snakes were unpredictable and often got too close for comfort. Snake handlers were on set, but accidents still happened. One crew member was bitten during production, though not fatally. Roger Moore, despite his fear of guns, handled the snake scenes with surprising calm, though he later confessed it was one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the shoot. Number 11. Moore's Bond smoked cigars, not cigarettes. One subtle change in Moore's portrayal was his choice of smoking cigars instead of cigarettes. Earlier Bonds, especially Connery, were associated with the iconic image of a cigarette dangling from their lips. Moore, however, disliked cigarettes and felt cigars were more stylish and fitting for his version of Bond. This small detail helped set him apart from Connery immediately, visually reinforcing that this was a different 007. Cigar smoking also added to Moore's suave, leisurely demeanor, perfectly aligning with his lighter take on the role. It was just one of many subtle tweaks that helped audiences adjust to the transition between Bonds.
Give me that! No, you listen to me, Trooper boy! We gotta...
Number 12. Clifton James as Sheriff Pepper. The character of Sheriff J.W. Pepper, played by Clifton James, was one of the film's strangest inclusions. A loud, cartoonish Louisiana sheriff, Pepper became comic relief during the speedboat chase, bumbling his way through the chaos. While divisive with critics, audiences found him hilarious, leading to his return in The Man with the Golden Gun, a rare case of a supporting comic character reappearing in Bond films. James said he loved playing Pepper, though some argued the character clashed with the film's tone. Whether loved or hated, Sheriff Pepper became one of the most memorable side characters in Bond's cinematic history. Number 13. The inflatable death scene. Dr. Kananga's death is one of the most bizarre in Bond history. After being forced to swallow a compressed air capsule, his body inflates like a balloon and bursts. Even at the time, many felt the effect looked silly rather than scary. Yaphet Kotto himself hated it, saying it ruined the credibility of his villain. The special effects team used a life-size dummy, filling it with air until it expanded and popped. The result was so odd that it divided audiences, with some laughing and others groaning. Today, it remains one of the most infamous Bond villain deaths, remembered more for its absurdity than its menace. Number 14. A political backdrop inspired the story. The plot of Live and Let Die was influenced by 1970s political and cultural changes. The filmmakers wanted Bond to deal with contemporary issues rather than Cold War espionage. The rise of blaxploitation films in America inspired aspects of the villains and setting, with Harlem drug lords and Caribbean rulers standing in for Soviet agents. This shift was risky, but it gave the film a fresh identity. While some critics argued it leaned too heavily on stereotypes, others praised it for branching out. The movie became one of the most unique Bond entries, with its voodoo elements and Harlem set sequences making it stand out in the series. Number 15. Roger Moore's Bond was softer with women. One major difference between Moore and Connery was how their Bonds treated women. Connery's 007 could be aggressive and domineering, but Moore played Bond as gentler and more charming. In Live and Let Die, this is especially clear with Solitaire. Instead of overpowering her, Moore's Bond seduces her with patience and wit, aligning more with his natural personality. This shift made Moore's version more palatable to audiences in the 1970s, as cultural attitudes were beginning to shift. While still controversial, his softer style gave Bond a different energy, moving away from Connery's colder edge.
You knew the answer before it was given.
Number 16. The longest boat chase ever filmed. The Louisiana boat chase wasn't just a highlight of the movie, it was the longest boat chase ever filmed at the time. Lasting over 10 minutes of screen time, the sequence required weeks of planning, multiple shooting locations, and dozens of stunt performers. Boats crashed, flipped, and jumped across ramps, all captured with precision. The scene was so complex that it nearly doubled its original budget, but the result was worth it. Fans and critics praised it as one of the greatest Bond action sequences. It also influenced other movies and TV shows to try similar stunts, though few matched its scale. Number 17. Roger Moore's Broken Tooth. Early in production, Roger Moore suffered a dental mishap when his crown broke just before filming a key action scene. Without a quick fix, the production would have been delayed. Moore's solution? He quietly called his personal dentist in London and had him flown to New Orleans, where filming was underway. The emergency fix saved the shoot from costly delays. Moore later joked that Bond always had gadgets for every crisis, except dental work. It became one of those odd behind-the-scenes stories that perfectly reflected the chaos and improvisation of Bond productions in the 1970s. Number 18. Solitaire's tarot deck was custom-made. Solitaire's tarot deck, central to her mystical powers, wasn't bought off the shelf. It was custom designed for the film. Artist Fergus Hall was commissioned to create original illustrations, and his designs became so popular that the deck was later released commercially. Fans loved the surreal, colorful artwork, and the deck became a sought-after collector's item. The prop department created multiple versions for filming, some of which are still displayed in Bond exhibitions today. The unique tarot cards helped enhance the film's mystical tone, giving Solitaire's character a sense of authenticity despite the movie's fantastical elements.
A man comes. He travels quickly.
Number 19. Roger Moore's humor saved the film. One of the reasons Moore's debut succeeded was his natural sense of humor. The script leaned into campier elements like voodoo rituals and outlandish villains, and without Moore's wit, it might have fallen flat. His subtle one-liners, raised eyebrows, and smooth delivery made even the silliest moments entertaining. Moore later said he never tried to compete with Connery's toughness. Instead, he made Bond his own, with charm and levity. This approach connected with audiences, ensuring his tenure lasted 12 years across 7 films. His debut proved the franchise could survive a new Bond actor after Connery. Number 20, The Final Shot, teased more Bond mysteries. The closing shot of Live and Let Die is unforgettable. Baron Samedi, seemingly immortal, laughing on the back of a train. This strange ending confused some audiences, as Samedi had already been defeated. Was he a supernatural being, or just a henchman who cheated death? The ambiguity added to the movie's mystique, blending Bond's world of espionage with something closer to gothic horror. It left fans wondering if magic truly existed in the Bond universe. While the series returned to more grounded plots later, this moment ensured Live and Let Die would always stand out as one of the strangest and most unique Bond entries. Live and Let Die wasn't just Roger Moore's debut. It was a wild experiment that pushed Bond into uncharted territory, from crocodile stunts and boat crashes to voodoo priests and rock anthems. It blended espionage with the bizarre, creating one of the franchise's most memorable films. While some critics at the time were divided, the movie has since become a fan favorite, especially for its daring stunts and Paul McCartney's legendary theme song. Moore's lighter touch gave Bond a new identity for the 1970s, proving the series could survive and evolve. Love it or laugh at it, Live and Let Die remains one of the weirdest, boldest, and most entertaining Bond adventures ever filmed.